Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing yet another movie review. This movie is an animated comedy from Estonia, Estonian language English subs, released in the year 2019, directed by Oscar Lamar and Mickey Maggi, and this film is called The Old Man Movie. So The Old Man Movie is about a very remote farm where a very small community are obsessed with this prize cow that it belongs to an elderly farmer. Now this elderly farmer has celebrity, everyone's addicted to the milk, and this is where he thoroughly abuses the cow. So the cow's well-being is not really the priority for this man. It's basically getting the milk out to these people. So this cow is becoming depressed, it's being milked far too often, and the reason is because if the udder expands and he hasn't been milked enough, it's going to explode and have catastrophic consequences for everybody. So the elderly farmer's grandchildren feel sorry for this cow, and they end up leaving the barn door open one evening so the cow can escape. But they didn't realise that the cow needs to be milked, otherwise it's going to blow up. So they have regrets at what they've done, so they accompany the elderly farmer on a quest to get this cow back, not only for its own sake, but also the fact that there is a lunatic in the area that used to be the celebrity of the town because of its milk, but the cow exploded on this man that left him permanently disfigured and confined to a wheelchair. So he has a deep resentment towards cows now, and he wants to wipe out every cow in existence, and now this prize cow is on this lunatic's radar. So it's a race against time, and whether or not this cow can be saved is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on The Old Man Movie. I had skepticism coming into this film, but I had a lot of hope coming into the film as well. So the skepticisms were based on the fact that this is a film based on a TV show. And these films based on TV shows don't really translate very well because you're used to seeing very long-running episodes of a particular story, whereas a movie just feels like an elongated episode. And so you've got the South Park film, the Simpsons film, and also the Bob's Burger movie that just don't quite translate as well as the actual series. And so coming into this movie, having it based on a series, I had that skepticism, but I had that hope because of the fact I didn't even know this story existed. So coming into it with a very fresh slate, that was definitely an opportunity to actually treat this as a movie and not constantly comparing it to the TV show. So after watching the first 5 minutes of this movie, I was very skeptical and worried that I wasn't going to actually make it through the entire length because the animation is very different. It's a clay animation and it was deliberately mediocre, which creates its own world, but I just felt as though it's not for me. So after watching the first 5 minutes, I thought, okay, I'm going to give this movie a go. Hopefully it's going to not get in the way of enjoying the experience. But then I realised the humour that this movie had, and I gradually started to like it more and more. And by the end of the film, I actually loved this movie. It was a lot better than I thought it would be. And the reason is because it's a forgotten art of offensive humour, basically sticking its finger up at the PC crowd and not making any apologies for it. And in a world that is very politically correct, a lot of people are afraid to anger people, whereas this movie is basically saying if you are sensitive, don't watch it, and if you do watch it, don't complain. It's like putting your hand under the hot water tap and turning it on and complaining that you're burnt. But you knew that it was hot water, but you're still going to complain that you suffer the consequences. And so this movie is making that promise that is hot water, and if you're going to turn it on and you're going to burn yourself, then you can't complain. So this movie knows exactly what it wants to be, and what it wants to be is as offensive as possible. It wants to stand away from the PC crowd and just make a world of its own. And I thought the absorbing world, not only through the clay animation, was very interesting, but the wild ride that this movie takes you on. This movie knows the limitations that it has, and the limitations are far less than the limitations of a real world film. In the real world sort of movie, there are things you just can't do, whereas this film, it knows it's an animated movie and it's going to push the envelope a lot further. The boundaries are a lot wider, and it's going to utilize those boundaries absolutely perfectly. There is 100% usage of all the possibilities of an offensive experience. So this movie has very grotesque humor. There is humor that I just was really shocked at how far it went. There are moments that I just thought to myself, this is absolutely fantastic. It's naturally a very, very funny film. And so these directors know exactly what it takes to actually make you shocked, but at the same time make you laugh. So it's a very dark sort of humor. Just for example, you've got a tractor that is driven by this elderly farmer in and out of a tree to give the tree sexual favors for information. So that's the type of movie that you have. And I'm not going to give anything else away, but that's not the most shocking and bizarre moment in this movie. And so as I said, because it's animated, it can get away with a lot more, and the movie realizes that. And so I thought every character involved, I thought the lunatic was an absolutely fantastic villain, and they were just set pieces that were hilarious. And that's not often, these days it takes a lot to actually make me laugh, and this movie made me laugh very consistently. I just thought as though there was not a moment wasted, and by the end of the film, it actually made me want to go out and see the TV series. And so that was something that it really achieved its goals, and the goal was to make you laugh, to actually take a break from the outside world that is very cruel and unforgiving these days, where you just have a lot of fun just basking in all the depraved glory that is the Old Man movie. And as I said, it makes no apologies for it, and it's just going to push it further and further, and you're constantly asking yourself, how far are they going to go? And the fact that you don't know how far they're going to go is what keeps you on edge of your seat, and you just enjoy the ride from start to finish. And so if you were like me and you're a little bit skeptical after the first 5 minutes based on the animation, give it a chance, because you're going to absorb yourself into the humor, and then you're actually going to come back and appreciate the level of creativity within the animation in building its own little world. So it's a world of politically incorrect material. So if it sounds like your kind of thing, definitely go out there and see it. I love this movie. I definitely didn't think I would, but it's definitely one of the most surprising animated movies that I have seen. So overall, for the Old Man movie, going to give this one 4 stars. Go out there and see it. All right, guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.